We're the Two of Cups.
Here's 2 cups. Let's look. Okay, so this is a really fun conversation. And dog, but we were talking about what we're going to talk about. This has been a couple weeks since we've recorded because there's been some life things going on, which is fine. Now we're back in the groove, so we wanted to dig into some of our convos. And this one came up probably a couple months ago when we were talking about just generally speaking of our belief systems around when we do ritual or do clearing or do healing work, and our choice of whether we believe in the power of our own healing capabilities. I would say that's the topic.
Yeah, I think is it a cerebral act or an embodied act?
100%. And because I had this conversation last night, I was like, this is the great starting point for a really important conversation.
Yeah.
So when you are doing work, such a big topic right now, when you're doing your inner work and you have cleared something, or you have done even like we will use cord cutting. I feel like that's an easy thing. We all know what we're talking about. You do a cord cutting because of a relationship or a situation. Do you actually believe and embody the healing that's happened? Do you believe that it is done, that it is so? We say it, but do you actually believe it, or are you connected to that story?
Yeah. And I'm just seeing like the devil card on the tarot, that like familiar disempowerment, right? That we can sink back into, because sometimes there's a familiarity and a comfort in identifying with a story or a trauma or a for me or a whatever it is, right? That there's something seductive about slipping back into the person who's been wronged, or the person who has to keep healing this thing, because there can be addiction to that.
And who are you without the story? So if I'm not Leanne, who has a demon mother, and like I do, and but I do not identify with that as a part of, it's not my story about me as of today.
It's never hear you talk about your demon mother because you don't
True, and I don't need to, but it's
have heels around it.
I have. It's just funny to say.
Part of your story.
But if I'm not, Leanne, who's, let's say, had early childhood trauma and, some abuse and shame around sexuality and shame around being seen, if I had actually set that part of me down for real forever, who am I? And then when I fall into shitty behaviors, because we all do, and I don't have that to lean on as an excuse, then whoa, what am I doing? I'm actually in my own way. I'm actually my own enemy at that point, which is hard.
Responsibility, sovereignty.
Right.
This is it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's easier to blame an outside story or circumstance or other person.
And it's also easier to be in the magic of, I'm doing my shadow work. I'm doing a cleansing ritual. Yeah. I'm in a clearing, program. I'm learning about this. I'm learning about that. I'm understanding. I'm in this like group. It's like, okay, you can do and learn and participate, but if you're not actually stepping into that higher version of you, then you're just repeating the same patterns again and again. You're just amplifying the actual pain.
Yep. And performing the persona of she who needs to continue to heal, because that's identifying with something in you that's unhealed, and like you bring cord, like that idea of cord cutting, of like removing the energetic ties. Like there's a big difference between just performing that action in your mind as a thing that you're performing, right, and doing, but if it's in your body, then you're actually feeling the shift. And I think about it like, well, we did this actually last night. It's like thinking about filling yourself so full up with light and power and love that there's just no place for that hook or that attachment to live anymore. So it's not this thing you have to keep on, like if you remove something but there's still a gaping wound there, well, it's got a spot to reattach. So you have to do that inner love, compassion, listen to the body, notice where you feel things in the body. And when you're doing magic and doing work, actually feeling it in the body, not just cutting your head off and having it live up here.
Well, and you know, I'll even go as far as, you know, when you step into being a healer or a witch, or you're doing an initiation or a priestess path, all things that we have worked in and work with and facilitate. If you go through the motions of, the fun part is actually the learning. It's the learning, it's the growing, it's the participating. And then when you step in and decide, I am witch, I am queen, I am priestess, I am etc., but you don't actually embody that and believe it, and you're just searching for the next hit of becoming.
Yes. The hungry ghost.
Yeah.
Right? The never ending thirst. The thirst that cannot be quenched. Yeah.
And being,
To be
yeah, and like being this, you know, is actually boring. I mean, it's fun, obviously, but like to bring your own, like believing that you truly are a magical being in a magical world, and you can create and you can do and you can heal and you can self-heal and you can talk to spirit and talk to nature and like as a creator and all of these beautiful things. But in the everyday, like you do actually have to operate mostly on a mundane level, which can feel kind of like, well, where's the magic? Right?
It's like, the magic is that there's nothing that's not magic.
Exactly.
Doing the dishes is magic. You know? Planting a garden is magic.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Our everyday actions are where we actually land. The information it received in the spirit has to show up in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you show, like, are you actually embodying?
Totally.
Right, how you live in. Yeah. And like, I'm not saying that I don't have work to do around this stuff sometimes too. I have work to remind myself to, am I actually embodying the habits of.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. And I was just going to say, it's, and this is where I don't, like, I try to step out of like the ego of it, because I'm like, it's not like I don't have my shit.
Right.
But I do understand that if I let an old program of mine run, it's because I'm choosing to, not because something happened to me. I've already cleared those things. I am healed from my past. And if I choose to let it get to me, or to let a situation remind me of like something that's happened before, and I react in such a way, that's actually like a conscious choice of mine. I've chosen to do that. It's not because I need to do more healing. And the very fact that we can have the awareness to be like, oh yeah, I'm leaning in on that victim story again. I'm feeling sorry for myself.
Right.
Right?
It comes around as a little spiral for you to remember.
Totally.
Yeah, I already know this.
Totally.
And sometimes it comes that way in spirals because there's little tests too. The more you're like leveling up, I do find that when you're choosing something, sometimes the universe is kind of like, oh yeah,
Remember this?
do you know how to hold that frequency from the inside?
Yeah.
And or is this thing from the outside gonna come and you're gonna falter and think that there's something less worthy in you, therefore you need more healing, instead of seeing, no, I've already chosen different. You know? And wobbles are normal. That yeah.
And then as practitioners, we should, I won't say we need to, but I feel we should be aware when we have people come to us, or if clients come to us and keep trying to lean into or addicted to the same work. It is actually up to us to say, like, I believe in the healing that we did together.
Yeah.
Like, I was there, I witnessed, we went through and we walked this together and we did the work, and you did the hard work, and I believe in your hard work. I don't feel you need to revisit that work again.
And it is done.
It's done.
Can you believe that it is done?
Yeah.
Right? That's why I like quantum healing hypnosis is like it's such a shifter that like most people only have come once.
That's right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a
That's right.
but you've done the work, and then the hardest part always is you had all the answers. You uncovered the memory that you already had all the answers. Now I'm going to believe yourself.
That's right.
Walking forward.
That's right. Right. Yeah, it's the same with medicine work. It's like you should be able to go inward and have that time spent and come out with a new version or a new understanding of your inner workings.
Yeah.
And that should be enough for you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's done.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's a free will universe.
Yes.
And you can choose
Yes.
to go ahead and continue to do exactly what you've always done.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is that a change in the inner world will show up in changes in your action.
Always.
And even if your action is choosing to believe a different thing, or pulling your power, pulling your energy, pulling that hook that something triggers you and pulling it back to like shift, it's always going to show up in actual embodied action.
And not I feel like we judge ourselves so much because there is so much emphasis on self-worth that when something comes up, like if we have an argument with a sibling or someone at work and we feel abandoned and we have a little moment where we're that hurt child again, there's like a judgment or fear being like, well, I mustn't be okay. Like I must be that person still. Like this is that thing that happened to me, as opposed to just having some compassion and being like, I'm tired. I've had a long week. I didn't need that argument. It's bringing up that part of me that I understand was my past, and I love that part of me. I don't have to continue to walk in that way.
Right. Yes. Oh, I just had a bit of a conversation about this yesterday of this how quick we can be to like spiritually gaslight ourselves.
Exactly.
If we have this idea that your external reality reflects your internal state, it's like that doesn't mean that the external reality is always like perfect and wonderful. There's a shit show happening all over the place, right? It's about what's changed on the inside in front of that. So if you can bring self-love and compassion to the same situation or something that's on the outside of you that used to maybe like flatten you for a while, it doesn't mean that like, oh no, this thing is showing up against in my life, so I must not be okay.
Yeah.
It's actually like, oh, can I hold myself differently?
Yeah.
And can I hold that person differently and see them in their wholeness differently as a person on their path, instead of having to make it mean something about me?
I was going to say that if I've learned anything from all the work that I've done, we've all done lots of work, not that mine is better than Annie's, but I'm like, I've done all the things. I've done lots of things. What I've learned the most is it's not about me. It's actually not always about me, first of all. And I'm not as important as I think that I am.
You are to yourself.
I am to me, but in someone else is going through their own experience, there's a great possibility that this might actually have nothing to do with me. As much as I think, or I did previously think, or felt like everything was about me, how they feel about me, how I didn't do, or they're not doing because of me, or I'm not enough, and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with me, actually. And to release myself from that. And that's part of abandonment and not being seen. And lots of us have childhood stuff, and I can witness that. But I surely don't feel like every time that rears its head up, which it still does, that I need to go and do another ritual or another, medicine journey or another course. It's like, no, I actually want to continue moving in a forward direction. And I don't want to work with practitioners who continue to pull me to doing the same things over and over again. I want to evolve with the people I work with. I want to evolve with my clients. I want to empower them as you do, which is why we felt this is such a big conversation.
Yeah.
In a world where there's lots of opportunity to ask for help. And sometimes we do need help. Even if we feel we have done all the work or we have all the tools.
Yeah.
I mean, the work never ends, but I need my practitioners too, right? But I want my practitioner to say, I don't feel like you need to come for this. Like, I feel like this isn't the right thing for you. You did this already.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep doing this. I believe in you. I believe in your power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You already know.
Yeah.
Now what do you need in support to show up in the world with actions that reflect what you already know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's huge. So that's that whole support and integrating can be good, or someone that holds you accountable.
That's right.
Creating some community around the habits that you want to step into.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
into yourself.
That's right. And that's why when we do our stuff and our work together, it's always evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
Want to put out, upgraded things so that everyone can keep moving up and through as opposed to back.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Or save.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Me too. So good.
It's so good.
Yeah. So now we're back in action. So back in the groove of our routine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is beautiful.
It is.
The spiral ever outward.